Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sixer Sense podcast. I'm your host Lucas with Chris. And look guys, as per normal with the Sixers news cycle, we got Joel Embiid injury, we'll get to that. But in the meantime, we're going to start off with a victory against the Miami Heat.
Yeah, Lucas, let's start with the game that Joel did play in. Played pretty well, 26 points in 31 minutes with 11 rebounds and 4 assists, only 2 turnovers. It was a 124-117 home victory for the Sixers, who are now 33-26 on the season. They beat the Miami Heat. Bam Adebayo scored 29. Tyler Hero scored 25 off the bench in 32 minutes. 19 for Jaime Jaquez. Only 10 minutes in this one for Norman Powell, who got hurt. So Miami was not quite at full strength there for most of this game. But 19 for VJ, 21 for Kelly, 28 points, 11 assists, 5 made threes for Tyrese Maxey, who's now the all-time leader in three-pointers made for the Philadelphia 76ers. Pretty cool moment in the locker room post-game that you can track down on the Sixers Twitter account where Joel kind of gives him the game ball, gives him his props. Pretty cool moment, Lucas. What were your kind of broader takeaways from this game?
First off, kudos to Maxey. It kind of feels like that should have happened a long time ago because, I get that Allen Iverson was with the franchise forever, but, it's not like he was a high-volume three-point guy. But I guess, you know what? Shout out to Maxey for doing it in 6 years. Absolutely. That being said, look, Miami is a play-in team. We talked about that last week. We had them ranked, like 9th or 10th? Like 9th or 8th in the East. Yeah, something like that. Look, when you don't have Norman Powell, you go to Tyler Hero. Tyler had 25 points in 32 minutes off the bench, 7 assists. Look, Miami is always going to play us good. And Bam's always going to give Joel problems. You know, Bam had 29 points on 20 shots, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. Look, this was not the most efficient game for Maxey in terms of shooting from the field, but good 3-point shooting game for him. This was a solid game from VJ Edgecombe despite shooting horrifically from 3. And like you said earlier, Joel did well, Kelly did well. Kind of a little mad because we have campaign and now Tyus Jones just became available in free agency. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, right?
Yeah,
No, look, good win. We needed to win this game. So yeah, not a bad outing. Could have been worse.
yeah, Tyrese started the game pretty hot, kind of cooled off later. But 11 assists, 5 steals, notably. He did some other things to help. In addition to the scoring, pretty balanced effort from the starting 5. The bench not too great in this game, which has been a theme. Philly again kind of struggling in the third quarter. That issue rearing its ugly head, but overall, like you said, a solid win against the healthy, competitive Heat team. Really not much to complain about at the end of the day. So, yeah, we can move on now, Lucas, to talk about the kind of bad news that came out after this game. And that is that Joel is scheduled to miss at least the next 3 games with an oblique injury. He will be reevaluated after the upcoming back-to-back against San Antonio and Utah. The last game being on March 4th. It's a 3 games in 4 days situation. Not really shocked that they kind of use that as a chance to rest Joel. But
yeah.
Are you worried at all about this? Obviously, the oblique is not really a lower leg problem, which I guess is a positive. But what was your reaction to this news?
It kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, which makes it feel less worrisome, I guess, in the sense that one, it's not a lower leg injury. Look, talk to me after the evaluation. If they say, "Oh yeah, he'll be back in another game or 2," that's fine. But if we say, "Oh, we'll re-diagnose in 2 weeks," then that's when we have the problem. This initial strain, I'm not too overly worried about. I can't even. Remind me, where is the oblique? I can't even remember. Is it like an
It's like a
arm?
core muscle
Okay,
situation.
yeah. No, you know what? Maybe he just had too many Philly cheesesteaks. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's definitely a wait and see situation. The dreaded update can not always treat the Sixers well, but like you said, I mean, I don't know if it came out of nowhere. Obviously, he was dealing with stuff around the All Star break that
But that was
seemed
more
not
like ankle
related, but
stuff. Yeah.
maybe this is like a case of his core was hurt and it kind of just led to pain elsewhere. It
Maybe he
looked
got
really sharp.
elbowed in the stomach and we didn't see it in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really sharp in the Pacers game, pretty sharp in the Heat game. Like, he looked good out there. So I'm not super worried about this yet. The team has not played very well without Joel of late, so it gives me some concern as, we've got a tough couple of games coming up here with Boston and San Antonio. Not sure we're
Yeah.
going to win those games, but long term, bigger picture, I don't think it's a huge concern. Assuming that he only misses, 3, 4, or 5 games. It's not a serious weeks long affair. But
Yeah.
yeah, never good to see Joel on the injury report. We know how funky and uncomfortable that can get, but this seems like a relatively not harmless. I'm sure it hurts, but harmless for the team. I don't think this is a huge issue, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe he's just getting a few extra rest days. I mean, he's only played, what, 30 some odd games this season so far. Nobody's expecting him to hit 50, so.
Yeah, look, as long as they hold on to the 6th seed, if Joel gets a few extra games of rest, I don't think that is necessarily a bad thing. So,
Yeah.
all right, Lucas, you ready to talk about another wonderful development for our beloved 76ers?
Absolutely.
All right, Lucas, Jared McCain is continuing to play quite well. SGA came back, and he is still out there getting around 19, 20 minutes a game plus. He's averaging 19.1 in 9 games with OKC, averaging 11.9 points, 3.1 rebounds, and zero point 0.9 assists, shooting 45.9% on just over 4 3-point attempts per game. He is the fastest OKC player to score 100 points off the bench since 2012. He is fitting quite well. He has sung the praises both in our interview and elsewhere about playing with these kind of quality passing bigs like Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Seems like he really enjoys the new offensive setup compared to what he was working with Nick Nurse. That I think is a complaint that most Sixers fans share with him.
Yeah.
Uh, is this the kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back, Lucas, with Morey? Assuming Philly doesn't go on a run in the playoffs, I think we all kind of expect a first or second round exit depending on the matchups.
Well, like I said before, yes, this does. Unless they get to the conference finals, this should be the straw that gets Morey out. Now, question is, will it? Well, that's really up to Josh Harris and Bob Myers, right? That's not really up to us fans. Now, I think the fan base you lose the fan base if you keep Morey and or Nurse. Honestly, this is probably a bigger indictment on Nurse than it is on Morey. Morey was
Yeah,
given was working with the data given, and the data given shown that Jerry McCain did not work in Nick Nurse's offense. Or rephrase, Nick Nurse didn't want Jared McCain to work in his offense.
sure.
And I mean, granted, eye test, maybe Morey should have had more of an eye test, but we always know that Daryl Morey's an analytics guy first before looking at it from from the visual lens. So yes, it's an indictment on Morey, but I will continue to state my case. This is a bigger indictment on Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse should not have been the replacement for Doc Rivers. I think we were looking at other options. I think we said Sam Cassell was one option. I forget the other options we were talking about at the time. Heck, at this point, who would have been a better coach for Jared McCain, and I hate that I'm saying this and agreeing with you, was Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah, I think I'm probably over that phase of my.
Well, I'm glad that you're finally over it, but I know you wanted to hear it anyway.
You're not wrong. I mean, look, I do agree. I think that this is more of a Nick Nurse problem. If you told me we had to get rid of one of those guys at the end of the season, I definitely still
Would have
keep
been
Nick
Quentin
Nurse
Grimes.
before. Well,
Yeah, it would have been Quentin Grimes, not Jared McCain, right?
well, no, I was saying between Nurse and Morey,
Oh
I
yeah,
would keep Morey if I had to
yeah,
pick one.
yeah.
Um,
I would keep Morey too over Nick Nurse, but I mean, it's like it's both bad choices. They're both not good choices. So like, what are we really doing here?
yeah, and look, I obviously agree that we should have traded Quentin if it came down to that.
If we could have, he might not wanted us.
You can obviously get more from McCain. We aren't getting a first round pick back for Quentin, if I had to guess.
No.
But that sell high comment that he made is just going to be on every like graphic for the next 2 months. It was just not a smart thing to say. I think the optics here are pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like McCain is going to be contributing on
At
probably the
championship level.
championship team.
I mean, unless San Antonio has anything to say about it.
Yeah, I have trouble seeing anyone beating OKC still. Denver obviously is capable of putting up a good fight. We got a good game the other night.
I mean, Spurs have only lost one game to them so far during the regular season.
Spurs have played them well in the regular season. I'm a little bit more dubious of San Antonio in the playoffs.
That's fair.
Limited experience and poor spacing.
That's fair. I don't know. Julian Champagny, another former Sixer, starring in his role in a Western Conference contender. That's a Doc Rivers sin, though, not a Nick Nurse.
Yeah, and Isaiah Joe has been playing quite well. The Isaiah Joe, Jared McCain lineups have been very successful, which is pretty funny, honestly. I tend to laugh when I see those graphics on Twitter, but
we should note that during the finals, Isaiah Joe barely played for the Thunder, so
we shall see. They're having two shooters of that caliber on the floor can be very helpful. We'll see how the defense
holds up,
kind of shapes up in the playoffs. But
yeah,
it was a bad move at the time. Very clearly predictable that this is kind of how things were going to go. Maybe McCain is getting off to a slightly faster start than we expected. Looks right at home. I thought maybe it would be kind of a slow build up. The minutes were there right away because of the injury to Shea, and then he just took that opportunity and ran with it. Credit to Sam Presti, who was better at that job than anyone else by my calculations.
I'll say, is it safe to say that Sam Presti is the best GM in the NBA right now?
I think so. I don't even know who would be a remotely close second.
I feel like you used to be able to say Bob Myers, maybe Brad Stevens.
Yeah, Brad Stevens would be up there. You maybe would used to say Masai. He's out in Toronto.
You used to say Pat Riley, but no, not in the last 5 years.
Yeah, you would have said like Danny Ainge, but Utah has kind of done some strange things since he took over.
Well, technically, he's not the GM.
And now it's his son, but he's still there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Sam Presti. I don't really know a clear option. I think Atlanta has a smart new front office, but it's their first year and they're below 500, so we can't really put them on that pedestal yet.
Yeah.
Same with I think Memphis has a good front office. There are good front offices, but
not elite. Sam Presti. Yeah. I mean, is he the longest tenured guy now? No, I guess you still have the GM in San Antonio. RC Buford? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Pat Riley, and then probably Presti after that. I think that's probably the order in terms of longevity as GMs.
Yeah. And
Sean Marks has been a GM for a surprisingly long time.
Sean Marks is another guy who I would have said was pretty good at his job before
the KD thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to reshuffle, but we'll see. But yeah, no. Look, this Jared McCain thing. I mean, look. Maybe Jared McCain doesn't hit the ceiling if he stays here, and that's a fair argument to make. But to say that you sold high on him is a bold-faced lie.
Yeah, again, it's just not a smart thing to put on the record when you don't know the outcome yet. He could have just as easily not said that. Been like, Jared's awesome, but we thought it was the right move.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
Now, and here's the thing. Morey made it sound like he's not going to keep that pick. If Morey's smart, just keep the pick. Like
He
you're not
says
going
that
to.
about every pick, though. And we always
But like,
keep it.
here's my
There's
thing:
always
like,
a guy they like.
what move can you make right now, unless you can somehow flip Paul George and like pretty much all picks that you have for maybe a shot at like maybe Kawhi, maybe, which I wouldn't do, by the way. I wouldn't.
No,
Like you can't really flip Paul George. Paul George's value is too low. Even if you attach picks to him, you're just getting off that salary. You're not really getting better with that. So no,
yeah.
at this point just keep the pick. See if you can you do good in the mid-20s, right?
I agree.
Like,
He's great at drafting. It's just
so just keep the pick, and if somehow you keep your job, make the pick. Or Bob Myers, whoever you hire in his place, please don't let it be Steve Kerr or Luke Walton, for the love of everything good. Just don't. Just make the pick. At this point, you have the pick. Let's see in a deep draft. Let's see what you can get. There are some good players in the mid-20s, projected to be there in the mid-20s. Am I wrong? There's some good players.
I agree. Look, as a guy whose whole thing is talking about the draft, I would prefer that they keep the pick.
Speaking of which,
yeah. All right, Lucas. Let's transition.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about maybe doing this on the last episode. I figured why not. Let's do a live redraft of the 2024 NBA draft. That, of course, is McCain's draft. We'll stick to the top 10 because
okay, give me 1 second. Let me pull up this draft. You can articulate while I'm doing that.
Yeah. I say we limit it to the top 10 because I think McCain is still a top 10 guy in this class.
I would say so, yes.
So we'll get him in there.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, look, most of these guys are still going to be pretty concentrated towards the top of the actual board. Obviously, there are a few second-round guys who have kind of broken out. A.J. Mitchell, Jalen Wells, who was up there in the Rookie of the Year voting last year, being the most notable guys who will probably go higher. Cam Spencer in Memphis will
Wells
probably go higher.
Has he done anything this year, or has he been injured?
Who?
Wells.
He's done stuff. He's been
not this year though.
Yeah.
Really? We sure?
Yeah, he's pretty much doing the same thing he did last year. I mean, 12.3 points, 42% from the field, 34% from three.
So he's like a high floor
he's
guy.
Having like the same season basically.
Okay, so high floor guy. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this draft and I don't. Is there a clear
it's
number
rough.
one? Yeah.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Hawks took Zachary Richache at 1. That pick, I think, was widely made fun of at the time. A lot of very smart people thought it was the right move. I know I did not. I had him in the teens.
No.
If I were redoing this, I'd probably still have him in the teens somewhere. I thought he was really good as a rookie. I know I kind of talked him up towards the end of last season as like my pick for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
It's been a rough second year. I think a lot of the flaws have kind of perked back up. Atlanta doesn't really seem to trust him. So I would put forth Stefan Castle and Donovan Clingan as the two most obvious candidates here, unless you have someone else.
I'm gonna be the tiebreaker here and say Clingan. Castle kind of fits, but like, does he really? And they already have Tyson as a defensive wing that doesn't really shoot that well, like combo guard. So I'm gonna go Clingan because Onawaku is not a great I like him as a high end backup, but not as a starter. So I'm gonna go Clingan number 1.
I think I agree. I think Klingan's the guy for now. Obviously it's very early, but he's been pretty awesome this year. Already an elite rim protector, starting to shoot threes. It's just been super efficient all around.
Yeah, you had him 3 on your big board, right?
He's a monster. I had him at 4.
Okay, yeah,
but I'd move him over all 3 guys ahead of him.
Yeah, yeah. So Klingan's 1. I think Castle's 2 for Washington. They don't have an established point guard. I think Castle's 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no way around it. I'm not totally sold on him yet, but in this class, he had like a pretty monster game. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, he's putting up the numbers. He's very important to a top 3 seed in the West. It's kind of hard to
No,
argue with it at this point.
that's
All
fair.
right.
No, this is where it
Obviously,
gets
the Wizards
interesting.
took Alex Sarr at 3
Yeah.
or at 2. We go to the Rockets at 3, Lucas, who originally took Reed Shepherd. I almost want to say they just take Shepherd again.
I think they go McCain.
I don't think so.
Shepard, I mean, look, I think they're similar players, and maybe I think McCain has more natural point guard skills than Shepard does. See Shepard more as a shooting guard, honestly. That's part of the reason why I don't think he's starting yet. McCain, I think, plugs in the point guard need more, and I say he goes there. But I mean, look, if you rather, I mean, look, he's a top 3 pick and he's still not starting. And I get that, like, oh yeah, no. Look, you're starting what? Your 5th starter right now is Tari Eason, and you're telling me that Reed Shepherd...
McCain's not going to be starting in Houston either. No one at this point. It's a weak draft. None of these guys are starting in Houston, except maybe
it's
Zach
a weak
Edey,
it's a weak guard
we could
draft.
make the Zach Edey case. He would fit what they're trying to do.
Can
that
we?
might
I mean,
honestly be the right
Adams.
answer for moving off of Reed.
Oh no, man.
Reed is a better defender than McCain. Makes more plays, creates turnovers. He was a historically dominant shooter. He's been shooting the lights out this year. I think you're underselling his point guard skills a little bit. He's a better athlete. He can get downhill more.
Fine. I guess we can keep Reed at 3. Fine. I don't like it, but fine.
Okay. At 4, Lucas, is where the Spurs took Stephon Castle. He's off the board.
Mm-hmm.
There's some fun options here.
There are some interesting options.
You could do Edey and Wemby, which I would like to see just visually.
I don't think that's what happens, though.
I don't think that's what happens. You have Alex Sarr, fellow Frenchman. You have Richache, who I know they liked, who I don't think is the pick here.
I think Buzelis is the pick.
What?
I think Buzelis is the pick. Think about an ideal 4 to put next to Wemby.
That's interesting. I would throw out Keyshawn George there. Who's been good.
Maybe. Just a little bit too inconsistent shooting for me. I kind of like Buzelis better, to be honest, as a fit next to Wemby.
That's fair. You could kind of make the case for AJ Mitchell, but probably not for the Spurs. Yeah. Kel'el Ware, notably, has been very good in Miami.
Yeah, I like him. This is actually a really good big man draft. Like, low-key, this is arguably one of the better big men draft in recent history.
I agree.
Because you still have Alex Sarr, you still have Khalil Ware, you still have Zach Edey all on the board. And that's not even counting, like, do we talk about Messi's being a top 10 pick in this draft? Probably not, but, like, he's a lottery pick, probably. Filikowski's a first-round pick in this draft, too. Osa Iguodala's probably a first-round pick, too. So, like, Quinn Post might be a first-round pick in a redraft here. So, there are some options.
Yeah. All right. So, your pick here would be Buzelis.
I mean, talk me out of it.
I think it makes sense fit-wise.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really, like,
the best player on the board. No, there's the big men are better, but, like, you already have Wemby. He's playing center.
Edey would be my best player available right now.
He would be the best player available too, but he's not if you're gonna add a big man to this, it wouldn't be Edey. It would be Khalil Ware, in my opinion.
I disagree on that.
You want to have a big man that can stretch the floor next to Wemby.
Wemby stretches the floor though.
But you don't want him taking
also
5 or 6.
Kind of space out a little bit.
He can do it a little bit.
I think Edey and Wemby give you some very distinct.
You just want to have chaos reign. That's why you're pushing this.
Well, no, look,
agenda.
I do think that those two would create a lot of advantages. I do think Wemby kind of helps mask some of Edey's deficiencies and vice versa. He's kind of that physical post guy whereas Wemby can roam around on the perimeter and
My
outside and
my
stuff like
question
that.
is, can you play them both when you have a super small fast team? Or are they going to get exposed?
Probably not. But again, I think the reality of this draft is like maybe 4 or 5 of these guys are like full-time real starters on good teams right now.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
fair.
if you're playing Khalil Ware in those situations.
I mean,
I
look,
get
Buzelis
it's
is
like a
6'8",
BPA
6.
versus fit
Look,
situation.
I mean, look, if we're going best player available, it's Edie. If we're going with fit, which I think has played a factor into our draft boards thus far, then Buzelis is the pick. So,
Has
are we
it?
going fit or bet? I think he's probably the best fit on the floor because you can play
Yeah.
Buzelis and Wemby in any type of matchup. It works.
All right. I will concede. I think I would pick Edie here, but I will concede Buzelis if
Well,
that's where you
I
are.
conceded Reed, so I think it's fair.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
This is an active compromise. All right,
Mm-hmm.
fifth, Lucas, the
Detroit.
Detroit Pistons, who already have Jaren Duran at center.
Jalen Duren, yeah.
Jaren Duran plays for the Boston Red Sox. Uh, my baseball brain is forming again. All right, 5.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you don't want to take Edie here either.
I would prefer not to, but
You've
if it's
taken
best
Buzelos
player,
off the board, who I think would be
yeah,
a fun fit here.
it would have been.
You could make a case for Jared.
You could make a case for Jared.
You can make a case for Jalen Tyson, who's having a pretty good year in Cleveland.
Yeah, I like Jalen Tyson or Keyshawn George.
Keyshawn
Right?
George would be a good option.
I just
AJ
don't.
Mitchell would be a good option.
Ron Holland was the pick here. I don't think he's the pick here. Can you play Sar and Duran next to each other? I say yes.
You can probably. I don't think that would be the ideal offensive setup. I think it would be pretty sick on defense. I don't know if Sar is as ready as some of the other guys here to help them win this season, which isn't necessarily the calculation.
Well, they weren't in a win
they have
now
Ron
situation.
Holland, so it's not like they really need this guy to carry a huge load. But
so, can we say Alex Sar?
I
mean, look, you can talk me into somebody else.
I know. Then you talk to me. We're even there. You can't use that again. Okay.
I'm just saying you can talk me into somebody else.
Okay. Okay. I would put forth AJ Mitchell. I think he's like a really special.
Does he have a higher ceiling than McCain? Does he have a higher ceiling than McCain? Is that what we're?
I think so. I think he's more of an advantage creator and a guy
because he's
really
like 6'5". He's like what 6'5", so he's not like
6'4", 190 is what it says on Basketball Reference. Obviously, you have Cade, and you don't need AJ to carry the offense. But I do think having a guy who can lead the second unit, 1, and 2, be like another guy who can get downhill.
He's like a better Dennis Jenkins.
Which they don't have really.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'll go Mitchell. I'm not feeling strongly for anybody here at Detroit at number 5. Thought Detroit was in a weird situation at number 5 in that draft anyway. So yeah, I'll do AJ Mitchell. Sure.
Charlotte at 6, Lucas. Picked Tidjane Salon from France.
Put
I don't
Zach
think that's
Edey
the
there.
pick.
Put Zach Edey there.
I think you got to go with Edey here. Yeah. I don't know if it's in hindsight with Kalkbrenner, it's not maybe perfect, but
you don't need the pick Kalkbrenner.
Yeah,
well, you still have Moose too. Moose Abate.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it has to be Edey. I don't think we can let him fall any further. Portland at 7, Lucas picked Donovan Clingan. He's off the board, obviously, which takes away their kind of franchise center.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe would make this an Alex Sar spot. I think if you look beyond Dame Lillard, you could make the Jared McCain argument. You can make the Khalil Ware argument.
I'm going to make the Khalil Ware argument. I don't know if you can place Alex Sar full-time at center and win in today's NBA. I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say. Okay. But what I can say is that I think Khalil Ware is a guy that if he was allowed to be a full-time starter, he put up really impressive numbers. So I'll say where, and I think their defense
Yeah,
would not be it would be a drop off from Klingon, but it wouldn't be as big of a drop off as you would think.
I'm okay with that. I'm not going to fight you on that. All right.
Yeah.
8, Lucas, is where originally, clicked off of it. The San Antonio Spurs traded Rob Dillingham to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So this is the Timberwolves pick. They needed a guard. Dillingham, I thought, was an awesome pick at the time. He got traded this year. Didn't quite pan out. Too small.
Yeah.
I would say the Wolves still need a guard. So this is,
agree.
I think, where we're kind of in Jared McCain territory.
I think we are in Jared McCain territory, and I think this is where he goes.
Unless you want to make the case for Keyshawn George, which I think would be valued. More
I
size,
mean, look, I like
some
Keyshawn
playmaking.
George, but he's not a guard. He's a forward, and he would be a backup. Jared McCain might be able to come in and start here. Might.
Yeah.
I say might.
Right.
So
I think you're right. I think I would go
Yeah.
McCain here.
Yeah, so McCain would be 8 in this redraft. Him in Minnesota next to Ant, as you know, he
think
would
that's
be
fine.
that token starting point guard that's really just kind of there for. He's like Dante. I mean, he's basically Dante DiVincenzo. So
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's like the perfect guy for that because he
Yeah.
can do the point guard stuff, but he's also really dynamic off the ball.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I think that works.
At 9, the Grizzlies drafted Zach Edey. He's their analytics pick, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
They've obviously made some pretty big changes since this draft. They've kind of torn it down. They're starting from scratch. You're going probably highest upside here.
I think you go Alex R.
Yeah, I was going to say you can make the case for Keyshawn George. But I think this is probably where Sarr comes off the board just because there's the potential to develop into something really cool. All right. Let's round it out at number 10, Lucas.
Can we
Utah
actually go to
draft.
14? Can we finish the?
We
the-
can go to 14. All right,
Okay.
sure. Utah Jazz at 10 picked Cody Williams, who has not played very well,
No.
to be frank.
Yeah.
The board is sort of opening up here. I think Jalen Tyson and, Tyson and George, who we've talked
Yeah.
about, are probably the quote-unquote best players available.
I think
Cam
you go
Spencer's
George
been
here.
very good, but he's kind of a cookie-cutter role player guy.
Yeah. I think you go George here.
Yeah,
I
I think that makes
don't.
sense.
Yeah, I don't really see anybody else here. I mean, yeah, nobody in the second round that's really like, we talked about AJ Mitchell. He's really the only guy in the second round that deserves lottery conversation. Yeah.
That's fair. All right. At 11, Lucas,
Oof. This is
we have the Chicago
Chicago.
Bulls taking Modest Buzelis, who's off the board.
yeah.
Chicago needs a lot of things.
I think they need a center. I think
they need a center too. But is their center worth taking over
would you take
Jalen Tyson, who fits their kind of style a lot?
or do you take Tyson or Mises?
I
That's
would
really-
take Tyson over Messi.
I think I would too, despite
Every
their
day of
need
the
at
week.
center. I think, because I mean, Filikowski's more of a stretch four. He's not really a center, and then the other centers on this list, I'm just not really. That's still available. Just don't do it for me, man. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to go Jalen Tyson here at 11. Which, hey, look, good two-way guy. That means you don't have to start Isaac Okoro anymore or trade for him.
I think Tyson would be a good pick there.
Yeah.
All right. 12. Lucas is where,
Okay.
let me scroll up. The Oklahoma City Thunder selected Nikola Topic, who has not played very much at all due to various injuries and ailments. Made his debut recently, has looked pretty good in like very few minutes, but they have a very deep backcourt. They just acquired McCain retroactively, though he is now a Minnesota Timberwolves in the world of this redraft.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think there's still a case for taking Topic, who I am not out on, We just haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean he can't still be good. He fits their kind of play style. We're not letting them have AJ Mitchell. So you take McCain and Mitchell out of the equation. There's more of a need for a guy like Topic with their second unit.
Okay, counterpoint. You know who feels like an OKC guy? Who really feels like still available? A defensive guy that can hit the three occasionally, but really nose to the grind is Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, I would take Topic over him.
The
The thing about OKC guys is they can all do stuff on offense, and Dunn really is not much of an offensive contributor right now.
Or if you want to bet on upside, Tristan Da Silva.
Yeah, I like Da Silva. The problem with the upside thing is he's almost 25, so he's kind of
but he's coming over. He barely played in college. He's coming over from Germany. I don't know.
No, he played a pretty substantial role at college. I mean, he was a pretty big piece of that Colorado team.
Okay. I mean, look, I don't love it. I just the guys that barely played. I get that the upside there is.
Let's run through a few other options.
Okay.
Obviously, I really like Ron Holland, and I think he would be an OKC guy if it can kind of click.
You could talk me into Ron Holland there. I mean, that's fine. You could also talk about Maxey's there. They don't have the most. I mean, their center depth is good, but not great. Isaiah Collier, maybe.
I was gonna say if you want to do an alternative guard, this is where Collier could kind of enter the equation. Jalen Wells would be like a plug-and-play guy who can shoot threes and do some wing stuff. He's probably worth mentioning. I think Cam Spencer would be very good right away. Mm-hmm. Whether he has the upside, quote-unquote, of some of these other guys is a bit more
Or if they wanted to troll the Lakers, they take Bronny.
That's true. They could just take Bronny. Yeah. I think I would pick... If you're asking who I would honestly pick here, it would be Holland, I think.
Okay, Holland's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. I still like him. I'm not giving up.
Fine.
I'm not giving up, okay?
Okay.
It's my number one guy on my board that year. All right, 13, Lucas, is where the Sacramento Kings selected Devin Carter. He's dealt with some injuries. Hasn't really been the kind of immediate hit that we thought he would be. I think this could also be a Topic spot because who really knows what the Kings are going to do moving forward.
They want a defensive team.
I think Isaiah Collier could be a guy. They really need a point guard.
What about are we just out on Bud Carrington?
I think I would put him below Collier and Topic still. Topic is so hard to peg down at this point, and Bub is.
Should note that Tyler Kolek is in this draft too.
Yeah, I like Kolek. I don't think I would put him over any of those guys.
That's fine
as a long-term bet.
I let's do Isaiah Collier. I like him there. I like the idea of him getting a real shot, and Sacramento would do that.
Sorry to Russell Westbrook.
And instead, look, I mean, him and Russell have very pass first mentalities. I think that would be a positive there. I'm not saying that all of Russ's attributes are good, but
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Wizards acquired the 14th pick, Lucas, from the Trailblazers. Took Bub Carrington. They also took Alex Sarr at 2. In this redraft, we have them taking Stephon Castle, which kind of solves their guard situation a little bit.
They could go big and take Maxey's here.
I'm not 100% convinced that Maxey is the big to take here.
Well, okay.
I honestly
How about Jalen Wells? I'm
a huge Filipowski guy, but there is stuff there. I think you could honestly make a case for Bona over Maxey, but I don't think I'm taking a Dem Bona at 14.
What about Jalen Wells?
Wells would be the kind of high floor guy. I don't know if that's really where Washington is at. I think he would help. They've obviously made win now trades since then.
Yeah, I was about to say, they made win now trades. By the way, I know he's barely played because of injury, but I'm not giving up on Deron Holmes yet either.
I agree. I agree.
Just hasn't played enough for me to make a strong
I think
statement.
you could still make a case here for Ricochet. It would honestly make a lot of sense.
I mean, sure. Why not? 3-and-D guy.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. Let's recap, Lucas. At number 1 in our redraft, we have the Atlanta Hawks taking Donovan Clingan, the big man from UConn. At 2, we have the Washington Wizards selecting another UConn player, Stephon Castle. At 3, we have the Rockets taking Reed Shepherd. At 4, we have Modest Buzelis going to the San Antonio Spurs. At 5, we have A.J. Mitchell going to the Detroit Pistons. At 6, we have the Hornets taking Zach Edey. At 7, we have the Blazers taking Kel'el Ware. At 8, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves taking Jared McCain. At 9, we have Alex Sarr going to the Memphis Grizzlies. At 10, we have the Utah Jazz selecting Keyshawn George. At 11, we have Jalen Tyson going to the Chicago Bulls. At 12, we have OKC selecting Ron Holland. At 13, we have Isaiah Collier going to the Sacramento Kings. And at 14, we have Portland selecting Zachary Ricochet, the original number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I think this is a good order. I think
I think we did pretty good. I know we didn't agree on 3 and 4, but I mean, outside of that, I think, and 5 was weird. 5 was a hard one because Detroit's hard to pin down. Because, even we said A.J. Mitchell, but, we got to remember the year before they had just drafted Jaden Ivey.
It's true.
So it would have been, a weird... I mean, clearly they weren't high on him to begin with, so maybe the Mitchell thing doesn't matter.
I mean, look, even... I mean, they took Marcus Sasser recently, too. They've been trying to nail down this co-guard thing with Cade, and they just haven't quite done it. Obviously, it hasn't impacted them much. They're
not yet,
good.
Anyway.
I think A.J. Mitchell is maybe the highest ceiling guy there, up there with Edey. So that's why I would go with him, but you could go a lot of different directions.
I mean, look, I don't think anybody would... I think, they would still be in good shape if they went McCain over Mitchell, too.
I agree. It wouldn't have been a bad pick.
Yeah. But, yeah.
All right,
anyway.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about around the NBA real quick?
Honestly, no. I don't have much.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll wrap it up. Thank you, as always, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Sixer Sense podcast. Like, subscribe, follow along if you can on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We're on Twitter at Sixer Sense. We're on TikTok at The Sixer Sense. I'm at Kline NBA on Twitter. Lucas is at CoachJ_20. And until next time, peace out. Go Sixers.